So Google has issued a warning over VPNs, and in today's video we're going to go through what's happened, because it's important and there's a lot of stuff that people need to be aware of to make sure that they are safe. Google issues urgent warning to anyone with a phone or computer. Google has issued a warning to billions of people over malicious applications pretending to be legitimate VPN services. The tech giant warns the applications could be a security and privacy risk. In its latest fraud and scams advisory, Google said threat actors distribute malicious applications disguised as legitimate VPN services across a wide range of platforms to compromise user security and privacy. These actors tend to impersonate trusted enterprise and consumer VPN brands or use social engineering lures, such as through sexually suggestive advertising or by exploiting geopolitical events to target vulnerable users who seek secure internet access. Google added that once installed, these applications can serve as a vehicle to deliver dangerous malware payloads. Now, there's actually a lot of stuff that this article's missed out, and I can speak from experience. So on this channel, I work with Private Internet Access. Obviously, they're a VPN provider, and I've worked with them for years on my gaming channel. But since I've created this channel, I've been an affiliate for them, and I know the teams that work there. I have really good relationships with them, and I also understand that they do care about privacy. It's very important to them as a business. Now, whilst I've been running this channel, of course, when promoting Private Internet Access, I've also seen a few people that have reached out to me or people that have commented saying that they've managed to get a cheaper deal on the same VPN, like through this dodgy website. And people are sending links to websites where they're managing to sign up to Private Internet Access and get a free account, whatever it might be. And it's not just for Private Internet Access. I've seen the same thing for other VPN services, whether that's Mulvad, whether that's Surfshark, whether that's NordVPN. There's so many websites out there that are offering you like 99% off and like 5-year free subscription, and people are actually signing up to this stuff and actually installing them as plugins on their Chrome browser or other browsers, thinking that they're being protected. Now, every time I've looked into the links that people have sent, they've always turned out to be not legitimate, but there's a few times where nearly I've been convinced. The only difference in some of these websites is like one letter out in a URL. These bad actors actually rip the whole UI and the HTML for the websites that are legitimate and put it on their illegitimate websites. This is becoming such a big problem now that when people ask me specifically about VPNs, I personally type out the links to the VPNs. I take them directly from the websites and send them to people because I don't trust people to be able to Google it and find the right thing. Now, of course, for the sake of transparency, hopefully that was transparent enough. I work with Private Internet Access VPN, so if you do want an actual 86% off and actually 4 months free, there is a link down below, and that link is legitimate. Now, what are these fake VPNs actually doing on your computer? Well, for the most part, 90% of them are just keyloggers. That's simply what they are. When you are typing in information, like you're filling out some bank information or anything, they're either keylogging or they're ripping your cookies from your computer. The cookies one is a little bit less common now because thankfully Google actually introduced some protection, so your cookies are encrypted. But the keylogging element of it is very real and it's a genuine threat. Now, in some cases, depending on your computer, these fake VPNs are actually screen recording or screen capturing login information. So, because obviously they can't necessarily rip the cookie data in some instances, they're just screenshotting the text that has been entered onto the screen. So when you're doing the autofill, it autofills and then screenshots and then obviously goes back to a server somewhere or it's being stolen by the bad actors. Now, I do actually urge you, forget like the whole VPN stuff, I do urge you to actually check what plugins you have installed, whether it's on like Chrome or Opera or whatever it might be. Just check what plugins you actually have operating in the background, because you might have downloaded something maybe 4 or 5 years ago and totally forgot about it. There's a certain level of digital hygiene that you have to kind of follow now using the internet, and little things like checking your computer for viruses, checking what background tasks are running on your computer, checking things like the plugins on your browsers. These are things that you should be looking into, not necessarily every day, but of course you should be checking it semi-regularly. Now, going back to the article, it says that this includes info stealers, remote access Trojans, and banking Trojans, which can exfiltrate sensitive data like browsing history, private messages, financial credentials, and cryptocurrency wallet information. Virtual private networks, better known as VPNs, create a secure and encrypted internet connection for devices, hiding online activity from criminals or bad actors. There is like such the biggest caveat around that word secure. VPNs are only as secure as they can be proven to be. Now, things like Private Internet Access and many other VPN providers for that matter, they use encrypted tunnels, and there's a lot of VPN providers that don't keep logs. I know Private Internet Access don't keep logs. So effectively, the government can request the logs from these VPN providers, but they'll just basically be blank files because the VPN providers don't keep the logs of what you do. I think it's always better to, rather than look at the claim that a company doesn't keep logs, you kind of flip that on its head a little bit and you look at the proof that they don't keep logs. Look for independent audits. You look for instances where governments have requested information from these various companies and not been able to get anything. They're the ones that kind of fill you with a bit more confidence. VPNs can be used on phones, tablets, computers and laptops and can keep people safe from browsing the internet. Now, you actually should be looking at VPNs from the funnel point of view. So basically, if you look at your household, all of your devices, what do they all connect to? Your access point, your router, your switch. So what I've done, and if you want me to do a video about this, I'm more than happy to, because it makes life a lot easier. Rather than having private internet access on all of my devices, and doing the sales pitch again, you can actually have it on all of your devices. You know, it's not one subscription, one device, it's one subscription, all of your devices. But rather than doing that, because to be honest, I'm lazy, all I did is route all of my traffic through the VPN. So everything that goes through my router goes through the VPN. It just means that basically anything that's connecting to my access point in my house is being encrypted through a tunnel. And the crazy thing is this stuff isn't difficult to do. Like it sounds like it's going to be difficult. There's YouTube videos that show you how to do it and it takes 2 minutes. In its advisory notice on the website, Google urged people to only download VPN apps from official sources and check for apps with the VPN badge in Google Play. So yeah, Google has like a specific VPN badge on Google Play, and even with Apple, for example, like what you should be doing is going to a VPN website first, the legitimate website that you can prove is the legitimate one with the correct URL, and then clicking the link on their website to go and download the app from the App Store. I've seen so many spoof websites that have tried to look like the VPNs that come up in the sponsored section on Google, or they're just highly ranking on Google's SEO because they'll put something stupid in there like, you know, free sign up or whatever it might be. They then go on to say, be skeptical of the free offers and avoid side loading unknown apps, the advice said. Now, when talking about free VPNs, there's a lot of caveats to add to it. There's so many caveats to add to it. So when something is free, for the most part, that means, in fact, not for the most part, 100% of the time, you are the product. Private internet access, their business model is very simple. They're not free. You have to pay for the VPN. It's a couple of dollars a month with the 86% off, but it's not free. You have to pay for it. And because you pay for it, you get the fastest speeds. You get full access to all of their features and functionality. It's very simple. Now, there are some free VPNs out there. 90% of them are either packed full of ads, really slow, or they keep logs, or they're selling data, whatever it might be. Now, I do get a lot of questions about Proton. Proton's free VPN works very simply. It is free, but the whole idea is that Proton upsell you to the other packages, which, by the way, I don't think is a bad business model. It's not exploitatory. The only downside with Proton, yes, it's free, but it's also, just my opinion, using it to upload videos and stuff, it's incredibly slow comparatively. Like, if you pay for the VPN, it's faster, and that's the way it should be. And at the end of the day, why should they give you a fully unlimited VPN when you're not paying for it? They shouldn't. Of course, they're a business. They have operational costs, so I understand that. I think they're the exclusions. 99% of every other free VPN out there is malware. It's a scam. And people often fall into a false sense of security because they're fake VPNs. These fake VPNs out there will appear on your phone as a real VPN. It will come up in the top right hand corner that you're going through a VPN. It's that simple just to create a fake VPN for a device that's actually doing other nefarious things. In my personal opinion, I'd stay away from free VPNs. At the end of the day, if you're paying a couple of quid a month, you know that you're getting the fastest possible speed for your device, period. And this is just my opinion, but for me, I prefer convenience and peace of mind. And at the end of the day, obviously I care massively about security and privacy, but I'm a creator. I post videos on the internet. I have a phone. I have a PlayStation. I have devices. I have ways and means that mean I am traceable for the most part. And this is where you have to come to that conclusion of where your convenience meter lies. Where is your limit? At what point are you you could, if you want, cut off everything and go and live in the woods, but then you wouldn't have all the things that you've grown to be comfortable with. And this is where people need to find their own trade-offs. Yes, have all your devices, but protect yourself with a VPN. Now, for the past couple of weeks in particular, I felt like I have a little bit of a moral obligation to make this video. Of course, there's the financial side of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I get a commission when someone downloads private internet access. And that commission, by the way, is less than nearly every other VPN offers. I just have a really good relationship with them, and I've explained in previous videos why I love working with private internet access. Obviously there's a financial incentive there, but there's also the other incentive, which is, at the end of the day, I talk a lot about VPNs, internet privacy, data protection. I talk about all of these topics, and it's genuinely really important that people stop downloading the absolute scammy crap that's all over the internet as their VPNs. It is possible to make your own VPN, by the way. If you are a bit more technically inclined and you want to go down that route, you can. Obviously, it's a bit more complicated when you're out and about. That works in your own home a lot easier than it does when you're on your phone, for example. And that's what these VPN services do. They create that whole thing for you so you don't have to. But yeah, I feel I have a bit of a moral obligation to talk about this, because the amount of emails I get from people that say that they found an offer on a VPN, which is, you know, like free for like 5 years, and then after that it's, you know, $1 a month or something. And I get emails from people asking if these VPNs are legitimate. Now, I would love to reply to everyone. Unfortunately, I can't. The emails don't even go to me. They go to my management, and then it gets passed on, and then it's a bit more complicated. Once again, that's down to me wanting to mitigate risk. And I'm going to close this video on the age-old adage: if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Like, you'd ignore an email that says you've just got a free Ferrari, or your Nigerian uncles left you millions and millions of dollars. It's the same thing for those ads that pop up saying get the best free VPN right now. 99.999% of the time they are absolute bollocks. In fact, 100% of the time they are. Anyway, if you do want a VPN, link down below. Private internet access, 4 months free, 86% off, and it supports the channel.